We're back with Jacy and Julianne, our favorite therapists, and they're here to talk about something that's so important, relationships. You guys, wow. Like, what a big topic, something that's so important to each of us, and something that can be really difficult, right?
Yeah, to say the least, right?
Yeah. We were talking about a little bit off camera, like our real lives. I mean, you know, we all go through relationship ups and downs, and I think that knowing some of these healthy boundaries or what a healthy relationship looks like can at least be a good place to start, right, you guys?
Definitely. Yeah, I think the number one sense of like being a human is finding a sense of belonging in life and within a relationship. So I would say a majority of my clients come in talking about relationships.
Isn't like your relationship the number one predictor of happiness statistically or something like that?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. More so than any financial success, like education, whatever. So, absolutely.
And wouldn't you know that it's also really difficult to maintain and stay really happy and healthy in a relationship, right? So can you guys tell us about what a healthy relationship looks like? Like, what are some of those hallmarks?
Yeah, I think we teach our clients a lot about this researcher, John Gottman. So he's been studying relationships for over 20 years, and he can predict divorce up to 90%, which sounds really scary.
It sounds psychic, but
Which
it's
is
really
15
thoroughly
minutes.
researched.
What?
Yeah.
15 minutes of watching them fight, I believe, actually.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
my gosh,
yeah.
okay.
And so he can kind of pick out these different aspects in a relationship that's helpful to know so that you can work on those. And one of those that is a detriment to a relationship is defensiveness. So the opposite of that is being really open. So,
But it's so hard to be open, right? Because it's hard to be vulnerable, especially when you're in a disagreement.
absolutely.
Yikes.
It's
Okay.
a practice.
Okay.
It's an ongoing practice. You're never going to get it 100% of the time. But being open to somebody else's perspective.
Okay.
And then being reflective and seeing like your own side of the street within a relationship. That's tough stuff.
That's really tough stuff. Because like we were even talking about before off camera, that sometimes we have these subconscious things that will come into play and we're not even really aware of how we may be acting from a wound or coming from a place that really, you know, we're just not aware of what we're doing.
Yeah, it takes a lot of self-reflection, awareness,
Yeah.
vulnerability.
Yeah, and then vulnerability to communicate that with a partner. So like to know your triggers and to know like your insecurities and when like you need some help from them to feel more secure and navigate through like any of that. So
Yeah.
So just being open like about what you need and communicating and then being open to their perspective. So really just kind of like, wow, yeah, being vulnerable, letting things flow, it sounds like.
Yeah.
What's another sign of a really healthy relationship?
Yeah, so I think the opposite, so an unhealthy relationship would be a lot of contempt in a relationship.
Yikes.
And so, yeah, that's scary. So with that, like practicing appreciation in a relationship.
Okay.
yeah, and John has found this magical ratio of 5-1. So for every like negative interaction, comment, or fight, you really have to counter that with 5 positive interactions. So it's a lot of work,
Yeah,
right?
that is a lot.
Yeah.
It's like an
That's
emotional
good to know,
bank
though.
account.
Your emotional bank account.
Yeah.
But it's also important to keep from like, you know, keeping score, right? Which I
Yes.
think can happen. Is that part of contempt?
Yeah, kind of that tit for tat and versus kind of trying to give just like 80% in a relationship.
Right.
Like if you're both giving 80%, like you're good. If you're both trying to give 50%,
You're not
it's
good.
not gonna work.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Someone's going to be upset.
Right.
So if our viewers want to continue to learn about relationships and grow in that area, where can they go? Where can they find you? And what are some good resources that y'all can recommend?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're at White Rock Counseling here in Dallas, and we do offer online services. But because we love to share and bring our messages and therapy off the couch, we've also created a podcast, the Everyday Therapy Podcast.
It's so good.
Yeah. So there's one that we really, really love is Cheryl Paul.
Yeah, she's a great resource. She has a lot of e-courses and just amazing. So we've interviewed her on the podcast. And then again, John Gottman.
Yeah.
He's amazing. He has retreats and books and courses online.
And apps, because you have his, right?
I do have his app. It's true.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, this has been so wonderful, and thank you for sharing your light, for always being there for us to, you know, just learn and continue to grow. So we
thank you for
appreciate it.
having me.